Here come the big rig kids, y'all. Are you ready? Let's go. Here come the big rig kids. Roll with the big rig kids. Let's have fire the truck. Take you to such amazing places with the big rig kids. Those helpful big rig kids.
Welcome everyone, Facebook Live. I am Kenneth J, as you know, and thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Grandma Polly. Tonight we have some very, very special guests who are going to share some very wonderful things with us. But before we get that started, I just want to say that, it's been said that it takes a village to raise a child. And tonight we're actually going to go into that and see how that works. But to bring the guest of honor in, you all know and love her. She wears her hats. But today I don't know if she's going to wear a hat, so she might change up on us. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Grandma Polly.
Hello and good evening from the Sunshine State. I'm in Florida this evening, and we're going on with the show. We're going to talk about grandmothers raising grandchildren. And before I introduce the two guests that we have, um, I definitely have to say something about Micaiah. Micaiah Bryant, I believe, was a child that got lost in the system. I feel like her family failed her, the system failed her, the community failed her, and the foster system failed her. The cop, yes, he shot her, but there was a whole nother big picture that we have not seen before we even got to that point. This child had stopped living a long time ago when she was in survival mode. What led her to be in the situation that she was in, I don't know, but I believe there's a whole lot of people who are should be held accountable for her death. Because for adults to stand around and watch this child go after two other adults that she was fighting with a knife, and there were men folks out there, and nobody took that knife away from her, nobody tried to stop it. I believe that there's a whole lot of people who's responsible for that baby's death. That baby died a long time before the cops got there. So on that note, I have two grandparents here today who are raising grandchildren because that's the environment that we came from. We grew up in that environment. If something failed, it was either a grandmother, an aunt, or someone in that neighborhood who would take that child and nurture them. And that's the thing we used to call family values. And I really do believe today we have lost the family values. That's all I'm going to say right now until we get into this conversation. And first, I want to introduce you guys to Miss Yvette Johnson. Miss Yvette is raising grandchildren. Yvette is going to give you a little bit of information. Then we're going to go to Michelle. All right, Miss Yvette, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Um, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm currently raising three of my grandchildren. Um, I've had the oldest for going on 10 years now. And their mom decided to bring me another child every 5 years. So we went from raising one to now raising a, a 7 year old and um, a 2 year old. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right, and we're going to get back to you so you can tell your story. But right now, we want to introduce Michelle Great.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I live in Mount Vernon, New York, but my family is from the Carolinas. I'm currently raising I have three grandchildren, but in my care right now, I have my 8-year-old grandson and a soon to be 4-year-old grandson. But I also have a 6-year-old granddaughter. And yeah, I just, it 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 brought me back to I thought I was kind of done raising children because I have two of my own. I have a son and a daughter who is their mother. Um, and I found myself starting all over again with the potty training and the pampers and all that stuff. And the homeschooling right now with these kids, and it's a lot. But I also have my village of family and close friends and my husband, who is definitely assisting me in this new journey that I'm going through with my grandkids.
Great. I mean, and we talk about this stuff, but I think it's stuff that we learned growing up. And that's when families used to be families. And today, a lot of the family values have gone away because we have so many children who are in foster care who is with nobody who they're related to.
In the family.
And Miss Yvette, we're going to come back to you now because I would like for you to tell me more of your story. I know you're raising grandchildren, but I also know you and your husband both are dealing with disabilities.
Yes. Um, so uh, I am currently on dialysis today. Um, and my husband uh, has back and knee problems from the years of working in the kitchen. Um, and he's diabetic and high blood pressure. But we kind of took it on and out of love, but to kind of go before raising grandkids, what you said about the foster care system, just a little background. We do have 5 kids. All of them were adopted out of the foster care system. None of them are related, so I can relate on um, raising kids that's in foster care. But fast forward to the day, um, try to deal with DSS, um, and you know, to the system is really broken. You know, um, so I can understand what Grandma Polly is saying about it started before the girl got killed. Um, because you have a broken system. Went to DSS for help for my first grandson and didn't get the help. Um, just consistently try to get help for him and didn't get help. Um, we're raising the three with no help at all. So that's sort of where we're at on our, the grace of God and our income that we get.
Okay, Miss Yvette, the three that you're not getting help from,
Hmm.
because I've heard so many times, and I even feel this way at times too. There are a couple of people who I know who was once dealing with children in the foster care system, and it came off as they didn't really want these kids. They wanted the checks that came along with it. And here you are telling me you have children and you can't even get the assistance that you need for them.
Correct. Um, just kind of background. Like I said, my oldest grandson is 13, about to be 13. I've had him since he was 3. Um, and we have gotten when we first got him, I had the only way I could get him is I had them to put him into foster care for one day, for him to be labeled as a foster child. Got him out the next day because I was out of town. Got him out the next day, and their thing was to give me kinship care for him. With I don't know if anybody know about kinship care, but it's basically the parent signs the child over to a kinfolk, and DSS walks away. Um, and then you can't get any help for them because you're not the you're not legally the parent. You just have them in kinship care. My second grandson, I had him straight out the hospital. My daughter called me on the day that she had him and said, "Ma, congratulations, you have a grandson. Could you come to the hospital to get him?" I went to the hospital. He was in the NICU. Waited until he got out of NICU. Brought him home from day one. No assistance. My third granddaughter, I found out that my daughter had another child. I I researched, found the child, contacted DSS, went down, asked them when they was going to court, went down, got in court, and when we got in court, the judge granted us custody of her, took her out of foster care that day because she was in an adoptive home. Took her out, gave her to us, and here we are almost 3 years later, fighting a battle to gain at least something like adoption for her so that we can get funded, but have not gotten one dime.
Wow. And you're fighting. You're dealing with two different states, aren't you?
I am North and South Carolina.
Because you're in North Carolina and you got the kids from South Carolina.
I got my last granddaughter. She was born in South Carolina. The other kids were born in North Carolina.
Got you. So if there was one thing that you could say, because there are so many things that needs to be changed about the system, what is one of the biggest things that you see and you realize that needs to be changed?
Um, in hindsight, we were excited when the judge granted us custody of our granddaughter, but we didn't know the law. The law says they cannot place a child in a home out of state without a compact order. Um, and they didn't do the study, so here we are 3 years later. We're just, thank God, getting the study done. Um, so in hindsight, um, I would have not been so quick to jump. Um, but I was excited. I was excited about getting my granddaughter out of the system. So I didn't think about it. Um, my first grandson, and it's, I would educate people. Number one, education, 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 because they need to change the laws because it is a lot of grandparents raising their grandchildren that I'm hearing the same thing. You can't get no help for them. They'll give them Medicare, I mean Medicaid, but that's it. You don't get. I mean, you have to use your income for everything else.
Yvette,
Yes, ma'am.
did you say you got the baby under the kinship law?
No, the baby, we got her out of foster care. So,
Okay.
and yeah, and the two other children we got under kinship care. That's how we got them.
Tell me a little bit about that kinship here.
Kinship care is basically um anybody in your family can say, okay, I give you permission to raise my child. So I can sign documents to get them into the doctor. I can um I can enroll them in school. I can make decisions on them. However, with it depends on what kind of kinship care you have. It's two different guardianship and kinship care. So kinship care, she just signs a paper saying um, she can care for him. She can come
Okay.
back. She can come back at any time and say, "I revoke that," and she can get him back. Guardianship. What we did with our second son, the second grandson, is a little bit different. She has to prove that we're unfit, and she is fit to get him back. But both of them um, is not what you would need to get any services for them.
Got you. See, that's where you talk about that education part. People need to be educated on that stuff because
Yes,
when you don't know, I mean, it is what it is.
right. And you let emotionally that's your child. You want your child out of the system. You don't want your child in the system. So emotionally, you take your child out of the system. And I think this time around, the third time, we're persistent. Like, no, you need to terminate rights. You need to help us to adopt this child so that we can get proper funding for this child, so that we can care for this child with not just our, this is another person on our income. So now
Right,
we can get other income to help, because if you go to Social Security says you have to, even though you're a grandparent, we acknowledge that, but you have to legally adopt that child.
so can you adopt that child just through your daughter, or does the father has to give up parental rights also?
Well, the father is unknown on that one. So they just they I used the system. And I said, you have lawyers. With my second grandson, they was like, here's the papers. We're walking away. If you want to adopt him, you have to hire a lawyer. And on my income, I can't. It's been he's almost 8, and I have never really come up with the money to say, here, I got money to throw at a lawyer to get him, get all the paperwork done, because it's a process. With her, I'm like, DSS has lawyers on retainer. You can afford to do it. So I'm going to hold out, because they try to offer me kinship care on her. I said, no, I'm going to hold out, because I want you to terminate rights, and I want you to put her, let her come up for adoption. And believe you me, it's been a battle, because many times we've gone to court and they've threatened me, if you don't sign these papers, we can take her away from you. But um, my thing is, what judge would do that? I haven't done anything wrong. All I'm saying is, you terminate the child's rights, terminate my daughter's right. My daughter has never seen her daughter, and she's about to be 3. So,
Wow.
um, you know, terminate the rights, let me adopt her, and because I'm going to be caring for her. But give me the means. If you're not going to fund it, because I took her out of foster care. You were paying for foster care for her. I've had her for these years, and not a dime, not one dime. So I'm saving the state money. So at least y'all can do is to take it through the legal system.
You're right, and I look at it and see you're a person who's not in. You're not into it for the money. You need the money to help you with the care of these children because you and your husband limited y'all limited income. But then there are so many people who get these children and they're getting checks and they don't take care of them.
Right.
That's it. But we're gonna put a pin right there on you, Michelle. I would love to hear your story.
My grandkids now also through King Gap, King in New York. Well, where I'm at in New York, it's called King Gap. It's same as kinship care. Where the parents, their rights are not terminated, but all the decision was made through the courts. Up here, my grandkids were in foster care, Um, they were only in there like I'm listening to her Miss Johnson, her story, and it's like it's totally different what I went through. The kids were placed in foster care, and they only been in foster care for like 18 months, and they basically gave that time for the parents to kind of get themselves together. Um, by that time, the parents still haven't really complied with anything, the courts and foster care was asking of them. So that's why I was able to get them through King Gap. But we're I was getting funds from foster care, and I'm still getting funds through King Gap, which is like in New York we have it. You down in the South, I think it's DFC, but in New York it's called ACS. You know, and there, it's a lot to take care of kids. And because I had to like literally quit my job. I had just got a promotion at my job, okay, and a pay raise at my job, but my grandkids was more important. I couldn't see them being left in foster care. I really couldn't see them being cared. Like, if I wasn't in the picture and someone else had to raise them, that would have been different. But they're my flesh and blood, and I couldn't see it no other way. That's, it reminded me, like you said, Renee, like how back when we were growing up, me and my brother at times would come down. My parents would bring us down south to go to school, but it's like, the village. My grandparents were the village. My cousins and stuff like that, they were of the village helping my parents with us. So, like I said, I couldn't see no other way where I could have seen my grandkids, you know, be caught up in the system. But we get fundings, and all the money basically goes on them. I have two boys, and they can eat, and they're growing. Like every time you turn around, I have to get shoes and clothes. But you know what? I don't even, I just want to make sure they have the life that children supposed to have. We do trips with them. We do like little family gatherings, especially with this COVID thing. But we get help with them, and you know um I don't want, if it comes to a point where I have to adopt them, I would. But I'm trying to like still give my daughter, instead of her being on a time clock to get herself together, this King Gap allows her to have a longer time to get herself together without being on a time clock. I still share the kids' report cards, and just overall, like if they having you know, not a little behavior problem, I still want her involved with her kids. And she is. She is. Um, I think it all basically became too overwhelming for her because she had them so close together. She had three of them, and she just had them too close together, and she was still young. But thank God, I have the family I have. They're my village. They're my backbone, even like close family friends. But they get their Medicaid, they get their money monthly, and it goes on them, And I mean, it helps us pay our bills. We can keep our lights on and make sure they have food, and make sure they have, clothes and shoe and any other supplies, or even like just toys that they like to buy, and games and stuff like that. But that's like hearing, the her story is like, wow. Like it seems like I don't I thought overall in all the states it was like that, but I'm hearing, your story, and it's like it's unbelievable because it's like they should get some kind of, funding. They y'all should get some help, and when we went to the King Gap, they gave us, we didn't have to pay for a lawyer. ACS, they told us just pick a lawyer, and the state paid for the lawyer, for the kids. And just to make sure that the kids get their services, because I have my two grandsons, they're on the autism spectrum, so it's like making sure they get their services, and like I said, dealing with the homeschooling now, making sure they have their laptops, and just being available to do all of this. I gave up because I want them to have a life. I want them to look back and say, you know what, even though I wasn't with mommy, and daddy, but I still had a childhood, you know. That's the most important. Just making sure everything is good for them. That's just what I want for them.
And what both of you grandmothers are saying is exactly what I was saying about Micaiah. Who was standing in the gap for her? There were so many
Family,
different
right?
gaps there. Who was standing in the gaps? I laughed, Michelle, when you said that when you came down south and it was your grandmother and the cousins and all these other people. And I was thinking about that coming up here today, and I was like, yeah, mom and daddy was there, but then I had a couple of aunts that was there. But those great grand aunts, Rebecca Williams, Emma
Yeah.
Armstrong, Marie
Hmm.
Rutledge, you know, they looked after you as if you were their own.
Their
Also, we
own.
had the village where everybody joined together
That's
and
right.
help. And we used to laugh at Rebecca Williams and say, God, that lady won't let you get away with nothing. She nosy. But she was that nosy type of person who cared.
Who cared? Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's what a lot of these kids are missing today. No one's standing in the gap for them. It takes the village.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. It takes a village. It
It
definitely
really
does.
takes the village. Now,
Mm.
Michelle has a sister. Yvette, do you have help or is it just you and your husband?
Yes, I have family and friends that come in and get. I couldn't do it without them. I'm telling you, they'll come in and get the especially the baby and take the baby, for the night, for the weekend, for my niece has taken her for almost a month.
Mm.
Just when it was times that I wasn't feeling the best. Thank God, I'm trying to work on that kidney, get that kidney now. But but they'll take the baby or take the boys. Um, Different ones have come in and really has been a help, and sometimes just a sounding board. I need somebody to vent, and I have people
Mhm.
that I can call and say, this and this and this. Okay, now I vented, I'm good. Okay. um so I do. I couldn't have done it without my village. I really couldn't have.
Understand
Yeah.
that and I respect that. And I'm behind on a few things right now after the move because Mother's Day is coming up. And everybody, oh, we gotta look after the mothers. I love mothers, don't get me wrong. I really do. But it's these grandparents that goes that extra mile and start their
Hmm.
lives all over again. If anybody out there listening, because last year we did the baskets. That's how I met Yvette.
Yeah.
Um, we did baskets for grandmothers raising grandchildren, and we were planning the glamour ball and a day of pampering and all that stuff, and then COVID hit. Miss Yvette, I haven't stopped yet. I'm regrouping. I'm in Atlanta. But I'm saying to you guys right now, next year this time, leading into Mother's Day, and we're all alive, we're gonna have that glamour ball, and you guys are gonna
All
show
right.
up
All right. I'm ready.
I'll be there.
because I feel grandparents need a break. I mean, you guys started your lives all over again.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys were working towards retirement, and oh man, my husband gonna travel the world,
Oh,
and we're gonna do
no.
this
Yeah.
and we're gonna do that, and then now you're that new mom all over again.
Hmm.
I think
Yes.
And
everybody
Kenny,
that
I
know.
see you rubbing your lips. What you want to say?
Oh no, I'm just taking it in. It's really incredible, incredulous that the system is set up the way it's set up to not help the grandparents and things like that. That's why I partner with Angel Funds. It's a nonprofit organization that helps grandparents and single fathers who are raising their kids. And definitely, after this is over, we can discuss it a little more with you ladies to see how it can benefit you. So,
Yeah, and that's the other, and the reason Grandma Polly is Grandma Polly because I grew up with my grandparents. My mom, I would go and spend the summers with her, but I was with my grandparents. And it wasn't that my mom was a bad person, but back during that time, them old folks, if you young and you have a baby, they took you. You didn't have a choice.
True. Yeah.
That's what they did back then. And now we don't even have those family values anymore. It's not mine. I already raised mine. So you need to go on with yours. And even though my daughters are doing well and they have children, and I've always prayed, God, allow these girls to stay stable, allow these girls to grow up to where their children will become adults because it's something that just starts the cycle all over again. And I was talking to another person today, guys, and this would break my heart. When we see our kids out here acting up, they're not acting up for nothing. These are
Mm.
broken people. I was
Right.
talking to this guy today, and he's a foster father. Him and his wife, they're foster parents. And this is one kid that's 10 years old now when they had him since he was 2. Well, now the time is up big for the way it was set up with them. And I've heard stories like this before, where you get that child out of foster care, but then you have a certain amount of time that you have agreed to keep them into your home, and then they move them someplace else if the parents is not ready to get them back. And they had this kid for 2 years. Well, he's been communicating with the grandmother for the last month because when school ends in June, it's time for this kid to go back to the regular home that he was taken out of. The grandmother called him yesterday and says, I can't handle it. Y'all got to work it out.
Mm.
And all
Mm.
along, this kid was preparing himself to go back to his grandmother. So now the grandmother is saying this. In my mind, the only, that's not me, the only thing I could think is, okay, first my mom is not here, my dad is not here, now my grandmother doesn't want me. And they're saying my time is up here. Nobody wants me.
Right.
Could you imagine the turmoil that put that child
Like
in?
he's feeling, yeah, that he's going through, what he's feeling. Like he's not wanted by nobody.
yeah.
And a
Right.
lot of times that's how kids can wind up, it's sad to say, committing suicide because they feel family don't want them, nobody want them. It's just wow, wow.
Yeah.
Or they start acting out and get in trouble out there in the street.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
It could go all kinds of ways.
Joining gangs and all of that. Yeah,
Yeah. Looking for love.
yeah.
And we're quick to label it, oh, they no manners, they're this, they're that. No, these kids are dealing with issues and feelings that they cannot process.
Hmm.
Right.
It's hard for
That's
us
rough.
as adults sometimes. So imagine what it's like for the children.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Definitely.
rough. That's rough. Wow. Because my mother always say, these kids these days, they different from how y'all was, like you're saying. A lot of them don't have no manners. A lot of them come from broken homes and, all of that. It's just sad. And like when my grandkids were in the foster care and, we had to do the visits with the parents, um, just sitting there that hour and watching so many kids come through that door visiting their biological parents. It's like, it just like we used to have to do the visits on Fridays after school. And just going down there, first of all, I didn't like going down there, going there. But just to see so many kids in the system like that, like, and a lot of the parents are young teenagers, young early 20s, it's just, it's wow. I never even thought in my wildest dream that I would, I all know I would have grandkids, but not to have to like have like somewhat custody of them because of a situation, and I've heard stories where kids were in the system and people get them just for that check. And then to see like these kids coming in to the visit, they wearing like old hand-me-down clothes. Like I've heard stories where they get the check and like a lot of the foster parents were just going to like the church and stuff like that and getting, secondhand clothes and stuff, which is nothing wrong with it. But that money you're getting, that's for the children. Use it on the children. Like it's sad. It's sad. And just so many kids out there everywhere who just want to be loved. They want a childhood so they can be successful. And it's wow. It's
Yes, and
I'm
you
still
touched
in
on
awe.
that. But you touched on that part, but we haven't even touched on the part to where these kids are abused through the system.
Yes,
Some of these kids, they take kids out of a home that they think is bad, and some of them end up in a worse situation.
worst
Yeah.
situation. Yeah, yeah. I've heard stories like that too. They have to remove
Yeah,
them and place them somewhere else, emergency removal and all that other stuff.
yeah,
So wow.
from being raped, from being molested, from
Mhm.
being killed. I mean, there is just so much there. And I'm sick
So
and
much.
tired of hearing those stories in the news.
Right.
But
Right.
Grandma Holly, if I might say, one of the things that concerned me and the reason why I stopped fostering kids is because my concern was they did not give the children mental health. You have these kids that
Mm.
one day they're with their parents and the next day they're not.
They're
If
not
they're
right.
lucky, they get visitations. My grandkids don't get visitations. It was ordered by the court when my grandson was 3 that unless his mom came to court, uh, he couldn't see her. And if they found out that I was letting him see her, they would take him out of my home
They were
also.
removed. Mhm. They
Yes.
were removed.
So
And that,
that's court ordered. So he hasn't seen his mom um, in about 10 years. So, but
Wow.
my thing of it
Wow.
is, it should be if you have to remove a child from a home, you should automatically give them psychiatric care or mental health care
I
because
agree.
that's traumatic and the system doesn't do it. Um, their job is to take them from one home and provide quote unquote shelter for the child. It can be they always saying they don't have enough foster care, um, foster parents. They
Parent.
would
Mhm.
put a child in a home just so they can go home to their home, um, because their job is not done until they place that child. So they're not vetting. They're not vetting people that really care for kids. That's when it gets to be financial. You know, a lot of people don't go straight through DSS because agencies pay more money,
Yup.
so they go through agencies. Um, and they get the children and they don't care, you know, whether the child gets care or not because that is their bottom line, that's their money. Because if a broken child get fixed and you can't say that they're broken because now they can go back home, the system is not, they said for reunification, but it's not really for reunification. um, they get they the system is they get money if they keep kids in foster care. That's the
Mm.
reality. It is the same as
And that's
Christians.
where the system is broken.
Right. They don't care. And one of the things I didn't like about foster care too is children would come with paper with their all their belongings in trash bags. And my
Mm.
thing was
Wow.
I need to start giving, start a thing where getting suitcases, luggage, because these
Right.
You
kids
just
aren't
read my
garbage.
name.
They're not garbage, and I've seen a lot come through my home with garbage.
Mm.
I have
Garbage
a
bag.
thing now. You know, we anywhere we go is no bags. You have to have a luggage. Even if you have shoes, put it in a little carrying bag, because I've seen so many people come through with just trash bags of all their belongings, and that's sad.
Mhm.
And it's so funny
It
you
is.
said that, Yvette, because that was brought to my attention too. And that's my next project. And I decided that this week. I'm like, everybody does backpacks and all that stuff with the kids going back to school. Mine this year, I want to do suitcase. And I came to that conclusion. Someone was talking about that this week. And I actually went in Goodwill and they were nice suitcases in there for like $3 and $4. And I'm saying that to me, to have a child walk from their first they were removed from their home. Then now they will put in another home. And they stay there for a while and then they take them to another home. And all this time they're moving around. They're walking around with garbage bags like
Right.
they're trash.
Mhm. Mm. Yes.
And anybody out there listening, if y'all have suitcases and stuff that y'all want to contribute, get in contact with us. We're on every Thursday. And my phone number and everything is on my website, Facebook, and everything else. We have to do something to help. We're not going to change the system, but at least help a couple of the kids who are in the system.
Hmm.
Exactly. True.
Mhm.
Definitely
True.
true.
Yeah. Wow.
But it just breaks my heart. And back to you, Miss Yvette, I was talking to a lady last night, just like you said, there are different agencies, and people go through the agencies instead of going through DSS. There are a couple of
Right.
agencies out there that she was saying will pay you $75 a day
Right.
to keep a bed open in your house so when they have to have somebody,
Mhm.
where they have to take these kids someplace, you have to have that bed available. That's money wasted.
Right.
Mhm. It is. Mm. Wow.
That's money
Yes.
wasted. Here you are with your grandchildren and can't get help. But
Right.
somebody, and I'm not saying everybody who does foster care don't care, but there's a lot of them who don't.
We don't care.
And you're
Exactly.
paying somebody $75 a day
Oh, we
to
have a
have,
call coming in.
okay, a bed open.
Just a second. We have a call for Grandma Polly. I'm sorry about that interruption. A caller, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Hey, how you guys doing?
I'm doing
First of
well.
all, I want to say
Hi, how are you?
good, good. Hey, my name is Sandy Tuesday. I'm calling up from Rochester, New York. I'm checking you guys out on Facebook, and I must say I'm impressed with what I'm hearing, and the fact of what you guys are talking about. And one of the things that just touched me now, for me, just to be sitting at home cleaning up, which I try to do here and there, but just I had to put the broom down and listen fully to y'all conversation because I was mesmerized by the fact of Miss Johnson and Miss Bolt, the fact of my wife and I, we have grandkids, and the things we deal with our grandkids and helping them out and do things. But listening to you guys, they gave me a whole appreciation of of sitting there saying to myself, I maybe I don't have that much to complain about, But when I hear what you two ladies are doing, I'm sitting there like, this. And you're right. When somebody wrote on the thing earlier, which I seen, it said it takes a village to raise a child. You guys said it plenty of times. I gotta concur. This is what I must say today. This is what I needed to hear while I was cleaning up. So I figured I had to call you ladies, tell you what you're doing. Grandma Polly, first of all, I love you. Love your smile. Love what you're doing. Love the show. And I'm going to be here every day to check it out. So I want to say that. I'm going to close out, let you guys talk because I'm going to keep listening.
Thank you for
Thank you so much,
calling.
kind sir, for chiming in.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
But
thank you.
yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. And when I hear people say, "Oh, we don't want the older children, we want the babies,"
That happens a lot too. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That happens a lot too. And it was like a lot of times, like you saying, like how Miss Johnson said about where kids who need mental services, um a lot of time people when they find out kids need mental services, they figure they're too much to deal with. They don't want them. They're too much work. But these are the most kids, they need that love. They need to know that somebody is on their side and that can help them. um it's a lot. It is a lot. But I always think, and I'm still thinking, like even as my grandkids get older, when they came out of foster care, they was like, trying to have us attend workshop where we can recruit more foster parents because there's
hmm
so many foster kids out there. And if I had, I feel if I had more room, I probably would take more kids. But like right now, it's just like they're trying to recruit a lot, because it's a lot of kids out there. And to piggyback what she said, they're being removed from their home, being removed from their parents. It's like they're trying to understand, and they will start acting out because they don't know really what's going on. They
Yes.
might have been removed because of abuse or anything. And they just need to know that somebody is there to help them. They do need, and like the foster care agency I was affiliated with, my caseworker, she was excellent. We're I still keep friendship with her to this day. Even though we're not long no longer, but she was excellent with this whole new process that we had to go through with my grandsons. Getting them, their their well, yeah, they have to attend mental health things because of them being on the autism spectrum, and just their removal from their parent, you know. And she was excellent with making sure that, whatever we needed, we could have called her even when she wasn't working. We had her, we would text her and anything that come up, and she was like always on top of it. And I wish it was like that throughout the whole state, like all over. You know, I like I'm in shock because I'm like I said before, I thought this was like all over, but it seemed like everywhere is different, which is not, which is bad. You have, people out there that needs these financial help and need these services for these kids. But yeah, I definitely commend my case planner for working with me through this. Definitely.
Yeah. I gotta say something. I'm listening to you guys, and I'm moved deeply by the experiences that you are being faced with and the challenges that it brings along with it. I am. I, how do I put this? What I don't understand is like, my wife and I watched the movie. Somebody is I don't.
somebody's phone.
I'm sorry, my phone. My daughter
Oh,
trying to call me.
okay. No
I
worries.
sent her a text,
No
and she
worries.
always call the kids every once in a while. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh no, no worries, no problem
No
at all.
problem.
My wife and I, we watched the show. Yeah, I watch Lifetime, so with her, that's it. Only with her if she
I
wants
love.
to watch
Me
it.
and mine. You watch it even when she's not home.
Nah, not. Anyway, anyhow. we watched this. One of the whining girls was she was a foster mother in it.
I saw
You
that.
see that?
Yes.
That was a great movie, and it's crazy how the system a child could be in a great home, right? And it's good for them, but then they allow bureaucracy or red tape to misguide that child and put them into, like you guys said earlier, out of the frying pan and into the fire, so somewhere worse or anything like that. And how like I just want to get your input on how do you think they should go about in combating that? Being you ladies going through the experience itself, how should they combat that?
They definitely. I feel they definitely should make sure that they have mental counseling. You know, because like I said, kids don't understand why. You know why they're being removed. You know, they like I said, they definitely need that mental counseling. And if parents, like some parents just automatically give up their rights. They don't want to be bothered at all. You know, that's tragic for kids because no matter what situation their parents in, the kids still want mom, or dad. They still want that parent around.
Yes.
They still do, but they definitely need that mental health, that mental counseling. I feel is very important.
Gotcha.
Very important.
Do you think?
I would say
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Johnson.
no. I would say that definitely that should be next step because they have steps that they have to go through. Once they remove the child from the home, they have 72 hours to get in court. That's how we got my granddaughter because I knew that was the criteria. But a lot of people don't know that. But that should be the next step. It should be in their mandate that you remove a child within 72 hours. You're in court. The judge or the agency has to put that child in um, do some kind of because it's traumatic. So
Hmm.
you got PTSD has. You gotta put them in some kind of counseling. My grandson, when I finally um got him, we had to put him in counseling. He had intensive in home counseling for 4 days a week for almost a year. That's how traumatic it was for him because he went through a lot. Um, so I think that that's something that should be implemented into the system because now we have teenagers or adults growing up that the cops are killing, that they have mental issues that have gone undealt with. Not saying that they were in foster care, but we frown on mental issues. The
Hmm.
we need to put them into some kind of therapy,
Yes. Yeah.
and parents need to be in therapy also, because I'm quite sure you didn't give birth to a child, carry a child for 9, 10 months to for them to go away.
Hmm.
So they're dealing with mental issues too.
Yeah. Definitely. I concur with that because like Renee's our grandma Polly started off the show with uh, Micaiah, talking about Micaiah and we were discussing that before we went live and how even what things happen to her mom because kids may be troubled as kids, but they don't stay kids. They stay in that same mindset, but they become adults, and those adults have those same challenges that they have to face. And sometimes I think people just think because people get a certain age, it just clicks for them, but it doesn't. They carry that baggage, and it's just like a trickle effect. Just keeps going back and back. So, what would you ladies suggest could be a preventative measure that I know love is everything, but people have a lot of different meanings on what love is, and even a child in the system may um, think love is something that it's not. You know, Renee, Grandma Polly.
when we say love, when a baby is born, the first thing they do, they take that baby and they lay that baby on that mom's breast. And there is supposed to be some type of bonding going on there. And this the way I had it explained to me is that because of that bonding, people don't really know the true meaning of love in a lot of cases. It's like, okay, I fed them, I sheltered them, I bought them a toy,
And
I
think that's
dressed
it.
them. But if the child really getting the nurturing care
Yeah.
that they need,
True.
and if they're not receiving that, then that's what they grow up and believe love is. Okay, I cried, somebody give me a bottle,
Mm-hmm.
I'm satisfied now. So as long as somebody's giving something, there's a lot of people who feel that love is as long as I'm receiving something or someone's giving me something, then that's love. But that's not real love. Love is nurturing,
Yeah.
teaching, molding, listening. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't care
Number
how much
one,
they
listen.
take these, yeah, I don't care how much they take these kids out of these homes. I don't care how bad the situation was. There is still some kind of longing for connection there of wanting that mom.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
know, the situation could have been horrible, but it's just like Yvette said. Now you done put them through shock because you just walk in and snatch these kids away. But
Mm-hmm.
in their mindset, they were with that person who has been showing them who they were all this time, whether it's the reality of the real love that we're talking about or whether it was their understanding of
Of
love.
what love was.
Yeah.
That's. I'm gonna piggyback on that. Uh,
Okay.
I watched another TV show with the wife. It's actually 911. The couple,
Oh,
they had a. It was a great show because they were fostering a little girl for a couple years, apparently, and now her mom's getting herself back together or whatnot, and she had a hard time giving the baby back. And then the little girl, of course, said, "Well, I'll see you later," not knowing that she's not going to see them later ever again, probably the way the system was set up in that.
mental.
Yeah, and for that to happen to a child, to have that rug pulled from under you, the stability that you've known was stability, it definitely is traumatic, and people wonder why people are the way they are, and you just never know what went on that you didn't see or have no clue
Right.
about. You know,
Right.
that's why we should never
Right.
judge, right?
That's
That's
it.
true.
And the thing is
Never judge.
about it, I want to say this. I have a black panel today, but we have just as many white and Hispanic children. We have children from all nationalities who are
Yeah.
out there floating around just looking to be loved.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And just to even hear that you say you love them, just to get
Mhm.
those hugs and those kisses, because my grandkids, they know everybody love them, but they just want to hear, we give all the hugs and the kisses and the playing around and the tickling. But
Hmm.
my grandson, the oldest one, he'd be like, "Mima, I love you," and I was like, "I love you too, baby." Every day, sometimes 3, 4 times a day, and that's what definitely matters. They know their parents love them, but just to hear people who are taking care of them right now, like I said, our village, we love, love, love. That word is just out there now. It's just a part of our everyday talk
Yeah.
that we have.
Yes,
And once they hear that, they know that everything, I feel they know everything is all right, going to be good. Everything is all right.
Yeah.
yes. Ken,
Yes.
one thing, how much time we got?
We can roll. This is very this is good. People need to hear this.
Read that comment from Cheryl Freeman about the churches. I want to comment on that.
Okay. All
It
right.
popped up on my screen
Just
and I didn't
yeah.
get the whole thing.
Here it is. Sorry, ladies, I don't mean to put it over your face.
Hmm. No
The churches
problem.
should be able to
To fill
fill
the
in the
gap.
gap.
Yeah.
We should not be dependent on the system. We need to show children love no matter what. Love is unconditional.
Hmm.
Okay, Cheryl. I like your idea. We know that's not going to happen because these parents today don't even take the children to church for the most part.
Amen.
And the other part of it is the preachers are riding around in these fine cars and these big houses and they're hosting these anniversaries for these pastors. And you have people in the congregation who can't even afford their medication and don't know where their next meal is coming from. And I'm not attacking the church, but it's real. I'm
It's a
sick and
fact.
tired of seeing these mega churches when there are so many things that's going on in our
The
communities that
community.
they're not even addressing.
Yeah. And I
And the
know
church is just that building. It's the people in the church.
exactly.
Yeah.
I know back in the day, even in the time with Jim Crow and slavery and stuff, black people, the church was a community.
Yes,
It really was there for the people. And, I hear some stories that my mom tell me, and I've other people. I'm just like, wow. It's like
yeah, we do it.
one of the things that my mom told me, and I was like, wow, that had to be great, like a community, because there was no refrigeration and things like that. When one person killed the hog, the whole community ate off that hog or something like that, and it's just like that's
I know
that
the
love,
story.
man.
Yes. And that's all it was down there. Shell, you know that. That's
You
how it
Hmm.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody,
Yep.
everybody
Everybody.
shared. But what's happening now, when we were growing up, it was a church here and probably one over there. But now there's a church on every corner.
yeah.
Some of them sit right next to each other. Some of them across the
Right.
street from each other.
Right.
So you
Oh.
have to be vision there.
Yeah.
It's all
That's
about who
true.
could have the biggest church, who could raise the most money,
Hmm.
who could have the biggest band in the
Biggest
church.
congregation. Hmm.
There you go, the biggest congregation. My preacher drives a better car than your preacher.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just how bad it is today. I'm not exaggerating.
Hmm.
Yeah. You're
And a
right.
lot of the young people have backed away from the churches because they have become so judgmental.
Mhm.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
They have
Exactly.
become very judgmental, and a lot of them just won't go.
Hmm. That's true.
Gotcha.
And I'm not beating up on the church, but that's just the reality that I see with them. I don't know what you guys have experienced, but it's what I see.
Right.
Exactly.
Miss Johnson, you care
Yes.
to elaborate? Go ahead.
We'll be here all night.
It's like that.
Okay, but at least say something. Don't y'all leave me out there by myself and these people go praying for me and saying, bring that demon back in.
No, no, no. Church is just not church like it used to be. It's just not. Like she said, is about who has the biggest congregation. Well, I can preach for, I can hoop and holler. I can get uh this one to hoop and holler, and I can um
The
make
way they
people
dress.
run
Mhm.
and dress, and we wear bigger. We can, if your tithe is whatever you can pay with tithe, your 10%. No, I want 20%. I want 40%. Um, it's about the money. It's not about love anymore. It's not about embracing. I remember growing up, you had people coming from the club on Saturday night, coming in through the doors on Sunday, but they were raised in a way where they went to church every Sunday. They might smell like liquor. They might have on they
They club clothes.
little club clothes, but you didn't look at them any difference because all of you were there to worship God and to love on each other, and it was about love. But now let somebody come in smell like weed, and you
Mm.
looking cross-eyed at them, or the usher putting them to the back of the church. when they need to be on the front for and feel because they coming in there looking for something that they're not getting.
Hmm.
And if they're
Right?
not getting out there, so how can we expect? That's a good, Miss Freeman. That is a good thing that you put. But how can we expect for people that is looking for love to go into some places that's loveless because
Right.
they're not showing
Ooh,
love?
great point. That was a
That's
great
true.
point. That's lovely
Yeah.
because you're not up to, you're on this level and I'm on this level. You dress this way, I dress this way. You give this much money to the church, I can't afford to give that much money to the church. And then they, even in the churches now, they've started to build people up by class,
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
heard. Yeah,
by
I heard
class.
that. Hmm.
So two things, we need to get back to God, but we need to get back to family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amen.
True. True.
Amen.
To
That's true.
family. I cannot know that I have a family member out there. Kenny, you my brother and your kids are grown. You got grandkids now. But I cannot know that you have a grandchild in the system. And I sit down and I ignore it.
Yeah.
That's family.
That's
Yep.
family. Yep. That's family.
Those are family values. And we've lost those things.
Well, not Miss Johnson and Miss Great Bolt.
No, I am so proud of you,
I,
ladies.
yeah, I
I
keep
really
telling people
am.
I grew up old school and I'm trying to pass it down. I pass it down to my kids. But some of them want to go their own route when they get grown. So I'm trying to still push it on to the grandkids. It's just that's the way we were raised up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we turn out well. I feel we turned out well. So just to
Oh,
continue
yeah.
that on generation after generation, where we don't have to lose our kids to the streets where they're going to be in with gangs and different things out there, girls being promiscuous and stuff. We that family value is very, very important. Very
Yeah.
important.
Right. And you're not going to like everybody in your family, but when there is a need, then you know that you need to be there. And Yvette, I
Right.
laughed when you talked about, going to the club and then going to church on Sunday morning. Yeah, I was one of them. We had to go to church on Sunday morning. Hey, Daddy, he was telling us, y'all could go
Right.
out there and dance all night if
Y'all
y'all
could go
want
to
to.
yep.
But 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, y'all better be getting up for Sunday school and church.
That's right.
And he didn't judge us on that. He allowed us to have our fun, but then on the other hand, he did his part by making sure that we had that
Exactly.
Christ part of
Balance.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That grandmama to wake you up and say, get up,
Uh-huh.
let's go to church. Even if you don't
Yeah.
have no stockings, she would give you your stockings. I
Oh
tried
yeah.
playing that off. I tried playing that off, and grandma gave me them peach colored stockings. I was like, oh no, like,
Yeah. At
like
Wow.
least
we
you got
going to church.
stockings.
A
Yeah,
funny
I
story.
tried that too. At least you got some peach colored stockings. Okay, you ain't got no stockings. Yeah, take this Vaseline.
and,
Grease your legs down.
and that's right.
A funny story. I remember
Yep,
it
yep.
used to be a
Go to
group of
church.
people
Going to church
every
with greasy legs and walking down the dirt road and that sand just flying up in that
Kick it
grease, just
up.
greasy ass sand.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
used to be a group
exactly.
of
Yep.
young ladies that their grandma raised them that they would come in church every New Year's Eve and sit to the very back pew. So as soon as 201 come, they could kiss their grandma and they were out of there. But and they came every New Year's Eve, and I believe they do it to the day. They go to church with their grandma on New Year's Eve, and they kiss their grandma at 12:01, and they're out.
They out.
Headed
Wow.
to the club. Headed to the
Yeah,
club.
headed to the
Awesome.
club.
Yeah, but
Awesome.
I want to thank you ladies so much because I feel like this was a
Thank
well needed
you.
conversation. And this is not going to be you guys' last time because Kenny got some information that he's going to give to you guys. And
Yeah.
Yvette, I think I have an organization that I found out in Charlotte about that I'm going to have you reach out to.
Okay.
And
Thank
we want to remind everybody follow us on all our social media
Yes.
platforms. And Kenny, first, do you ladies have anything else y'all want to say?
Mm.
I just I enjoyed this. It was real good, and thank Grandma Polly because last Mother's Day
Mother's
with the
Day.
and not but she didn't say she bought dinner over the basket with everything in it, and my grandkids was dying to get in that basket, but I was like, that's for me. She bought it for me. I sat, I ate my meal, and it was delicious, and I was like, you're gonna honor me, me, what, so
Why not?
I think uh, it was something never done. Something, my kids appreciate me as their mother, but nobody said, you know, you raising your grandkids. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's awesome, Miss Johnson. Hats off to you. Hats off to you. And thank you
I'm sorry,
for
I had to turn the light on, y'all.
thank you for making this a wonderful experience and sharing your story with us. We truly appreciate it. Miss Great Bolt, any final
Yes.
words from you?
I thank my cousin, Grandma Polly, for creating, allowing me to share my story, and if any information that I gave out could probably like help others, they can inquire with whatever agency they belong to. Um, and I just thank you guys so much. you know, just to know that I'm not the only grandma out there
yeah,
going
yes,
through this again.
yes.
And thank you guys.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome.
That's it. I just need you guys to text me your address. I have a little something for you guys for Mother's Day.
Oh,
Oh, that's so
oh,
cute.
thank you,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you ladies as well. And I also want to
Thank
thank
you.
our, oops, I don't want to clap, but I just want to thank the Facebook audience for joining us tonight and just letting you know that we're here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Grandma Polly, Conversations with Grandma Polly, be delving into life experiences about things that are going on that all of us should be aware of and all of us should be contributing to it because none of us have arrived until all of us have arrived. And with
Yes.
that
There you
said,
go.
That's true.
And remember,
I
next
like that.
week we're talking to two single mothers who are truck drivers.
all right, sounds good.
And
I'll be
sometimes
there.
they have their children with them on the truck.
All right, any final thoughts, Grandma Polly?
Yes, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for checking us out. And please follow us on all our social media platforms. And Miss Yvette and Miss Michelle, you guys brought some real information today. And this is what we're about, trying to bring awareness to the things that's going on in our community.
hmm Yes.
And I thank my brother Kenny for helping me put this platform together. And I appreciate you, bro.
You got it. And I'm gonna show your
Even though
little
you're six
sign.
months younger than me.
So every Thursday, 7 p.m. Okay, ladies, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
thank you. And if you just stay on after the broadcast, I just want to talk to you a quick sec, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
fine.
Here come the big rig kids, y'all. Are you ready? Let's go. Here come the big rig kids. Roll with the big rig kids. Let's have fire the truck take you to such amazing places with the big rig kids. Those helpful big rig kids. See how they they give and grow and get to know amazing things. Learn with the big rig kids, and you'll see how it is to have adventure days and hang and play with all your friends. Because the big rig kids know what it is to live a most exciting and inviting life is positive. Sapphire with the voice of wisdom keeps the story rolling, and by golly, Grandma Polly drives them all to where they're going. Hop on in, everybody. Let's go! Caden, he's the leader of the crew. He's smart and brave and true. Sasha, Caden's twin, she cares a lot but can be stubborn too. Caden loves a good book too, and then Sasha, she's a regular computer guru. These are the big rig kids, roll with the big rig kids. Let Sapphire the truck take you to such amazing places with the big rig kids. Those helpful big rig kids.
Kimmy, I love what you did with that.
Yes.